Magyar szólások és közmondások angolul beszélőknek.
Hungarian sayings and proverbs for English speakers. Consequences.
Ki mint veti búzáját, úgy aratja kalászát.
So let's see what this one means. The first word we're going to look at is búza, which means wheat. In this sentence it has two endings. To búza, first of all we add ja. This is a possessive. His or her, or if you're being formal, your wheat. When we do this, we also have to lengthen the a. Then we've made it an object and we've added a t. So again, the short a becomes a long a. Vet is to plant. Here we're looking at veti, which is the definite form of the verb. Veti because we have a direct object in the possessive. So because it's direct and definite, we need to use the definite conjugation. Kalászát means an ear of a grain, such as wheat. So I've used the same image. And again, here we have a possessive. We've added an a, kalászát, and then we've turned it again into an object by adding a t. So we've lengthened the a. Unlike búza, kalászát doesn't need the j for the possessive. That's just something you have to learn as you go along. Aratja is to harvest. And again, we're looking at the definite conjugation because we have a definite, direct object. This image comes from one of the many traditional harvesting competitions I've attended in Hungary, and I have a separate playlist that looks at both harvesting competitions and techniques for using a scythe and all the other equipment required to do traditional harvesting. Okay, leaves a few words. Ki. Usually when you get ki, it is who, as in the question word. Ki yun, who's coming? In this case, it is short for oki, which is not a question word, but rather just a pronoun. So, who. Mint means as or like. Uj means in that manner. Who as sows his wheat, in that manner harvests his ear. As you sow your wheat, in that way you will harvest your ear. Or, more colloquially in English, you reap what you sow. Let's look at other grain crops other than wheat. So if we're talking about grain, we're talking about Gabona. That's cereal or edible grain, stuff you make flour out of. Here's the definition in my dictionary, and I thought it's a good place to start to look at what grains to discuss. Roj, rye. Arpa, barley. Zub, oats. Kulej, millet. Kukurica, corn or maize. I know this rather than as kukurica, rather as tengeri, because it's a foreign grain that comes from over the sea. And rij, which is rice. The most common grain found in Hungary is wheat and maize. So maize by volume, but wheat by area. And having a look at the other ones, which are pretty obscure. So only the last one is something we'd actually see in New Zealand and possibly other places in the Western world. But there are other crops. Noprofogo is sunflower. And this is an interesting one. Nop being sun, ra towards, forgol which turns. So an aprofogol is the plant that turns towards the sun. And if you're in Hungary in July, you'll just see hectares and hectares of beautiful sunflowers. Repse is rapeseed, or more politically correct these days, canola. So when I was growing up, it was known as rape. But of course, because of its alternative meaning, that term is usually not used, so it's either called rapeseed or canola. And canola, of course, stands for Canadian oil. So 60% of the area that's in wheat is actually in sunflower. So that's a lot of sunflowers. For our extra for experts, we're going to just look at that little phrase, uj, mint. Uj, as I said, means so or in that way. Mint, as or like. So normally it's in this order. Uj teniszik, mint egy profi. She plays tennis like a pro. It could also mean he plays tennis, or even it plays tennis like a pro. You can't tell in Hungarian. Csináld úgy, mint eddig. Do it like you've been doing it up to now. Csináld is an imperative.
Ki mint veti búzáját, úgy aratja kalászát.
You reap what you sow. If you put your time into your Hungarian, you'll be rewarded. This is my last one on Series 2. Series 3 is on its way, but there may be a little bit of time before we actually get into Series 3. So another 16 sayings. And until then, vizsgáld.